Hello, everybody. Man, this is my first official solo UV video. I'm so proud of my investments and bringing you guys a new light, literally. And that's really like the way that I've chosen to live my life consciously. Bringing something new to the table, bringing something exciting. Hey, Alex, how was your weekend? I learned something new this weekend, and that's just the way that I've been for the past decade. I had an awakening. It was almost as if like the hardships and all the chaos shed the layers and the onions to help me become the kid and the child that I once was, that was really, really, truly happy with himself and wanted to share his gift and his light to the world. I was a very generous kid growing up. It came naturally, but it was also the way that I was raised. I got to shout outs to my family for the way that I was brought up. Another thing, I've learned to let people do the things that they want to do, as long as they're not hurting me. It's whatever. Naturally, people should gravitate towards me whenever they feel called to, and nothing should stop anybody from sending me a message and saying hi, how are you doing once in a while. And I may not be able to get back to everybody, but going back to that peaceful purity of life, I've come back to that. How did I manage to do that? Well, I started to lose a lot of people in my life recently, and I started to see a lot of people come back, the same ones. And I got to a point where I was just telling them straight up front, like, I've been observing you for years, and I can't help but notice it, like the sky is blue. And I even told a couple, this is what you're probably going to say. This is what you're probably going to do. And right then or right after, maybe not even right then, but the day after, for example, they'll start to say and do what I was saying. And that's just how good I am at reading people. Because it's not about the smiles on people's faces, it's the energy they emit. It's the eye contact, it's the looking through and feeling that energy through their eyeballs. At least for me, everybody is just gifted in different ways. But my thing is always giving people a chance and the benefit of the doubt. And that's just how I've been throughout my life. Sometimes people overstay their welcome, and I give people more chances than they deserve. But that's just the way of the big-hearted folks. And the only thing with me is I don't try to let it get to a point where I let it burn me alive. And if it shall, then I will proceed and let it burn me alive. And then I come back up top even stronger. It's better to live a life not asking what if. Another thing, I've been told by one of my friends, she's like a mother to me. She told me, as I was venting to her about family and issues at home and such, I think it's all made up in your head. I think it's all in your mind, she had told me. And it made me think a little bit, After she told that to me and I pondered on, I had received a text message from somebody, and I had taken it the wrong way. And perhaps I was having a bad day or something. But when this was happening, I went back to look at the text message the next day, and I realized that what the person was saying was actually sincere. And I was taking it the wrong way because I'm so used to the conditionings that this person didn't care, or didn't care enough, and, all these type of things that I held on to. And she was making me aware of these things. So when I got to that point, see, I've always been pretty accurate about things like this because I like to see things for what it is. I don't like to just go based off on emotions and how I feel. I want to look at things from all angles, and break it down into a million pieces until I've just come up with the decision to make. And in life, it's really just about choices. And you can only be in the flow by doing and taking action. But you can't be in the flow just by being in your mind all day and night, 24/7, because otherwise you're gonna be you're gonna be thinking more and doing less, obviously, but you're gonna be confused, because taking chances and risk is a story that deserves to be told to people around you, or maybe the world to hear, because there's a lot of people out there that struggle with it. So who's to say that maybe your experiences in life can't teach and help somebody grow that need it the most, is how I always feel. But like I always say, for what one person does or doesn't do always serves its purpose. And the purpose of people that don't want to speak about things is what I feel my purpose in this life. I was also taught back on my birthday in May by a new friend I had just met there at the campsite. What a great birthday celebration, by the way. He had told me that your father and fathers in general will teach you things that only they know how to teach you in their own way, or maybe that they were taught. For example, he was saying something about giving me a fishing pole and telling me to go fish, to go do it, but they won't teach me how, because he doesn't know how to teach me, or that's just his own way of showing love, and recently I've just stopped caring what people think about me, so much so to the point where I've been saying this for years, that I don't care what people think, and I end up doing and feeling so anyways. And mostly it's all unconscious, because I'm very honest, but then a week or two later, or, something happens right after I say that to myself and I get pissed off. But genuinely, I've been feeling like that because I got to a place where I was living with intention and integrity. And what I mean by that is I was speaking with my actions consistently, and I was doing right by my people, and whoever for that matter. And I was doing some things right for the wrong people. And normally I would ask myself 1,000 questions why I did this wrong and why I couldn't make this person happy. But I started to continuously interact with other people, and those people appreciated what I had to offer and do. So let's say let's say I never branched out and I was closed off. How would I understand and expand my consciousness if I didn't travel, and shake hands with different people to gain perspective and insight? That maybe it's just that one person that doesn't appreciate what I have to offer, and it all seems like common sense things, but there's been so many times where I've dealt with a lot of people that are so used to the negativity and the chaos that a guy like me comes into their life and it's like they don't know what to do with it. And I completely understand where the trust issues come in, because there's been a lot of people at times that like to comment positive things underneath my posts, for example, right? And those same people that cheer me on with their pom-poms and whatnot are the same ones that turn around and stab me in the back. And it happens all the time, so for me, being a positive guy, a lot of people have told me, hey man, I've met somebody that talks like you and that acts like you, but end up showing me their true colors. And I'm like, okay, but I'm me. So it's crazy, because everybody's so different, but it's like we have to constantly be reminded of that at times, at least for me, that just because I think this way, I always had a problem with thinking that others should think like me, and not that we have to be the same, but because I always operated on a frequency of love, for example, right? And people I felt like should appreciate it, doesn't, and therefore I get hurt. But I have to understand that at least I had that love in my heart, and I think what makes me strong as a human being is that I'm not afraid to get hurt, and I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I'm not afraid to be open because I'm not afraid to be me. And in being myself, I will challenge those who are not what they are. And I will walk with integrity and honor in this place. As long as I'm happy with myself, I can go home and go to sleep at night in peace, right? Another thing, I'm starting to see a lot of people attach themselves to things outside of themselves and people, especially, particularly romantic interests, etc. And that's understandable. I've struggled with it my whole life. But Albert Einstein once said something like, if you want to live a healthy, happy life, tie it to goals, not people. Now, of course, there's going to be variables to that because I love people with a passion. But I started living in this state of, well, I can't control somebody, but I can control myself and my destiny. So let's see where this goes. I have to take care of my thought process, and I have to continuously say yes to things that serve my soul and say no when I really mean it and not feel guilty for it. And it took a little bit, but I kept doing it. Even when I thought it was a great idea to rent out a cabin with some friends, I had to say no for various reasons, right? And I don't regret it at all, because I know that the next time it will be even greater. Now, in the state, I started to see that every decision that I consciously have made is for a reason, in that divine order has told me, well, there were some roadblocks. By the way, if you had gone, there would have been something that would have happened. You know, I went through a situation where 2 cars behind me got pounded by another car, and I'm thinking to myself, that could have been me. I've been dodging a lot of bullets like Neo in the Matrix, you know, throughout my life, and I don't want to wait for chaotic moments anymore to happen to make me change to be a better person. So therefore, each and every single day of my life, I do it the best, and I make it brand new and fresh, and I try to live a life where I don't ask myself what if, because my story is very interesting because I make it interesting and I believe it to be interesting. So therefore, my belief system is creating my reality from my subconscious mind. So if they say that your friends reflect your trauma, I had to sit back and observe, well, damn, this is actually pretty true, because what this man is going through is what I'm going through, or what I used to go through. So now I can effectively help him. Another thing I feel to share is you teach people how you deserve to be treated. And it took me a long time to get to this point, because I always felt guilty for feeling feelings. But then I started to think to myself, wait a minute, I'm feeling guilty for being a human being. So I got to a point where I was like, you know what? If I'm feeling negative in a certain way for being mistreated, it's damn sure for a reason, because I'm a generally positive guy. So when I started to say and stand up for myself, I started to see a result of nobody bothering me anymore, right? And if they tried to bother me, it just wouldn't bother me as much, because I knew that I stood up for something and fall for anything. And I just want more people to do that for themselves, man, because my spirit has been calling for it to happen, and I just never took action upon it based on fear. But fear can be something lodged in your subconscious mind throughout your life. And I think that the difference with me is I embrace change, and I embrace living in my truth so much. Even if it hurted me, I wanted to go through it. And therefore, I did go through it to find peace here at the light at the end of the tunnel. So therefore, it is the result of everything that I've created to find this, to help people out there effectively.